Okay, we're going to start today with the traffic briefing for tomorrow. Once the buses leave the venue, which we anticipate the last buses will be gone by 1 or 2 in the afternoon, or 1 or 2 in the morning, then they're going to start dismantling the fence and taking down all the road closures or the blockages. The Crosstown Expressway will be open at 5 a.m. tomorrow for commuters. It's anticipated that Florida Avenue will be open at that time as well, so that commuters can exit off of that ramp. Then we will start taking down all of the road closures, as I said, and it's our intent to have everything open and moving by noon tomorrow, and that includes the Platte Street Bridge. The Harbor Island is going to stay one lane on until we can get all of the blockades out of the roadway, but there won't be any checks. And there really haven't been any problems with getting on or off of Harbor Island, so we don't anticipate any slowdowns there. But the big news is that the Crosstown will be open for the commuters tomorrow as usual, so that should be happy news for everyone. Yesterday, I think most of you were covering last night's events. Everything went very, very well. Officers continue to perform as expected and have done nothing short of an amazing job at handling all of the crowd control and crowd management issues, and that was again shown last night in our handling of the group from Romneyville. Now there has been this afternoon, and I'm going to leave the details to be covered by the Sheriff's Office because they're handling the issue, but there were a couple of buses that we're monitoring. The buses are occupied by Earth First, some of the individuals from Romneyville, and some of the Occupy New York. And they earlier today, went out to IKEA, and they were trespassed from that location. And then we followed them out to Tico Big Bend plant, where they got off of the bus, several of them in the Sleeping Dragons. And as I said, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office is dealing with that as we speak. So you guys will be able to get the details from them. And those are the bigger points that we have to cover right now, so I'll open it up to questions that anybody may have.
I'm sorry, with regard to they were told to leave the IKEA location, or how did that?
It was a private property, and so IKEA asked that they leave. The officers that were out there asked them to vacate the premises, and they did. All right.
Barricades. They'll be removed as well. People will be able to walk around downtown freely, easily tomorrow morning?
Yes. And as I said, we're going to start taking all of that out, clearing the roadways out first, and then getting everything out of the roadway and up and moved as quickly as we can. A lot of that fencing is going to be used in Charlotte, so they have quite the incentive to get that stacked and out of the city as quickly as possible.
So Charlotte taking the fencing down?
Yeah, Charlotte's sending people down to take. No, the company itself is taking it, and then they're transporting it up to Charlotte, and they're using the fencing there as well.
And how about the law enforcement presence from out of town? When are they leaving? How is that all going to work?
Well, the law enforcement, the officers that are on the day shift will be going home this evening, unless they come from a great distance. And then the evening shift, that will be up to them to decide if they want to go home when they're done with their shift. 12-hour shift's pretty long. And then the midnights, obviously, we would rather they get some sleep before they get on the road and drive back to their jurisdictions.
So from a law enforcement perspective, what's tomorrow going to be like, and how different is it going to be from today?
Tomorrow is, it should be a lot quieter. I mean, all of the activities associated with the RNC will obviously come to a halt, and there will be a lot of people leaving town for the most part.
Chief, in addition to the Selman and possibly Florida, what other streets will be open at rush hour tomorrow morning?
Those are the main ones that everybody needs to know about, and we'll try to clear those barriers and barricades out of the roadway. A lot of them are just the barricades that can be moved off to the side of the road, thus opening up all of the roadways. I don't know if the parking garages down by the Forum and the Convention Center, if they will be accessible early in the morning. That's probably going to be a noon issue because they'll have to get all of that fencing and everything else down by then.
Now, what's the city's overview of the fact that there was all this predictions of doom and gloom with traffic? And it's been slow in points, but it's been a lot better than people predicted.
Well, you have to prepare everybody for the worst, and I think that just shows what an amazing job that the Transportation Subcommittee has done with anticipating any issues where there would be traffic slowdowns and taking care of those ahead of time, either through putting officers out there to direct traffic or diverting people to different roadways to minimize the slowdowns. But the transportation plan was very dynamic, and the group that put that together just really did an outstanding job with it.
Do you get the sense life downtown is going to be like a typical Friday on Friday, or do you think it's going to take until Tuesday of next week for?
Yeah, I don't know if a complete typical Friday. It will take some time to get all of that out. It took a couple of days to get everything set up. I'm quite certain they'll take it down a lot faster than it was put up. But I don't know if, come 8 a.m. tomorrow, life's going to be right back to where it was before, and there's absolutely no sign of the RNC. I wouldn't guarantee that.
Do you have any idea of what's going on over there at Big Bend? How many people were really talking about being arrested? And we'll call HC stuff.
Yeah, there are just a few. I would say less than 10 individuals, and probably not that many.
And it's Occupy Tampa folks?
No, it's Occupy New York. We were talking to them last night in the protest issues down at Ashley and Whiting, but they have 2 buses that they've been keeping over in Clearwater. And it's Earth First, some of the individuals from Romneyville, and then individuals from Occupy New York.
Chief, I know you addressed this morning, but have you been surprised by the low turnout of the protesters, and what do you attribute that to?
Yes, we've been very surprised at the low turnout of the protesters, and I don't know what it's attributable to. You'd really have to ask the groups that had indicated that they were coming here and ask them why they didn't make it. But it could have been partly the weather, but you would think that if someone was committed, that once the hurricane wasn't a impediment, they would have been on their way down here. So I'm not sure what it was that kept them away. All right, anything else?
So how many arrests of protesters have there been over the course of the...
2. We've made 2.
And how many protest actions has the department responded to?
All of them. Actually, there's been a lot more of the spontaneous events than there have the planned events. So, I'd say maybe a couple dozen, but we haven't sat down and counted them up. Yesterday, for example, we followed the individuals from Romneyville all over the city of Tampa, and then some.
If you count that as one action, then we'll always...
Yeah, I don't know. You could break it down into a bunch of little actions or one big one, but I know they were worn out by the time it was over.
When you're counting the 2, are you not counting the Romneyville one, or are you not counting the Machete?
No, I wasn't counting the Romneyville one. I guess that could be. Then 3. We've upped it. For God's sakes, we've increased by 50%.
Have you heard about in Pinellas County on Tuesday, there was PCSO is calling this RNC related, but someone who lay down on the side of 275 and was ranting about the GOP. They're counting that as RNC related. I'm assuming that's not.
Are they? No, I hadn't even heard about that. Mm-hmm. So I heard about some of the issues that we had at some of the delegate hotels, but
you're only going to be counting ones that happen in the convention.
Oh, I mean, we would count them if it had to do with the RNC, but I hadn't even heard of that. And they actually arrested the individual?
Yes, that was Tuesday, and that was Pinellas County.
What was the charge? Do you know?
I'm afraid I don't. I know that he was verbally abusive towards the deputies.
That doesn't count as a charge. He may have had a warrant, but I'll look into that. But we would, anything that dealt with the RNC,
Sure.
we would count those as arrests.
The heat this week has been at times oppressive. I mean, certainly the humidity has been oppressive, but we've only had maybe one heat-related incident. I mean, it seems like kind of surprising. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that.
Actually, I thought it was kind of nice, after the storm went through. I don't know that it's been as steamy hot as it usually is, but we really put on a very strong campaign to alert everyone to the dangers of heat stress. And we provided water, we've provided water to the demonstrators, to visitors, and certainly we had factored into our response plan hydration for our officers. And as the officers went out the door, we'd hit the clock, and they're only out there for so long so that we wouldn't have any heat stress issues, especially individuals in the crowd management gear. So we've done everything we can, or did everything that we could, to make sure people were aware of the effects of the heat on their body, and then also taken actions to prevent any type of heat stress.
No officers had any heat-related issues?
No, sir.
So you already mentioned law enforcement officers from other jurisdictions. How many have been in the Tampa area during the RNC?
How many officers total? There's about 3,500 officers, and those come from federal, state, and local, and that includes a myriad of duties: transportation, venue security, crowd management, their dignitary protection. There are a lot of assignments that are factored into those groups.
Is TPD included in that 3,500?
Yes.
Okay. So how many from out of town?
I'd have to get you the exact. We have an exact breakdown of federal. Then on the state level, we have the Florida Highway Patrol, and we have Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and then we also have on the marine end, we have Fish and Game, Fish and Wildlife. So we have a lot of state agencies as well, and then we have a number of police. I believe there was over 50 sheriff's offices and police departments that have assisted us from throughout the state.
Aside from HCSO and TPD, we're talking thousands that came from out of the area, right?
Yes.
And did you have any from Charlotte? Was he observing?
We did. They came in earlier. There were 3 individuals that came in, and then they actually left, and their chief came in on Monday, and he was here for the march on Monday in observing. So they were here. All right.
Are you or is anyone else from TPD going to go to Charlotte?
On purpose?
I mean, to actually talk with them a little bit more.
No, not go there, but I'm certainly going to call Chief Monroe and just give him some thoughts on things that we experienced and things that you can only learn by going through something like this. Just a little bit of in the category of not for nothing. Here's what worked for us, and here's some of the things we would have done differently. Their plan is in place, just like us. They've been planning for a year and a half, but just those final last-minute fine-tuning and tweaking of the plan, I can give him some helpful hints. All right. Thank you, guys.